Hi Epicureans! Well, today we are in for a serious Epicurean treat. I'm here at Longevity Wines in the beautiful Livermore Valley. We're going to learn how these fantastic wines are made from Phil and Deborah Long, the owners and founders of this fabulous winery. So come with me, let's check it out.
Hi, Allie.
Hi, Phil.
How are you?
Nice to see you
nice
again.
to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me to your beautiful tasting room.
Welcome to Longevity Wines.
It is stunning, Epicureans. So we're here at the Longevity Wines tasting room, and Phil's gonna show us just a few, maybe more than a few, of his fabulous wines. What do you have for me today?
Oh, well, let's start off with, I think you like pink.
Well, yes. How did you know?
Start off with a little taste of our pink Pinot Grigio.
Ooh, I love the color.
So the grapes come from a little vineyard. This is Butner Sonol Vineyard on the western end of the Livermore appellation. This is our pink Pinot Grigio. We leave it on the skins overnight to gain color, flavor, and aroma.
I'll take that. That's delicious. Smooth, light, perfect
Summer.
with a nice fish. Phil, that is just awesome. Perfect, what, by the pool?
By the pool, in the backyard.
Pink bikini, pink wine. Come on, Epicureans. It's absolutely wonderful. Okay, Phil, so what do you have for me next?
Well, of course, we have another pink wine just for you.
Yes. Did you say pink wine again?
Pink wine again. And this wine is called Rosé of Debrevey. And Debrevey stands for Deborah's Cuvée, after my lovely wife, Deborah, who is actually right here.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me. That's the diva right there. She has her own wine. I'm working towards that, Epicurean, someday.
So this is our Rosé of Debrevey, which started out as just a red wine, but we decided to make the same varietals into a rosé style wine. So this is the rosé. It's Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvedre. It's very fruity.
It is fruity. It is fruity, but not too sweet. Sometimes these fruity wines can be overly sweet, I think. This is
Correct.
just perfect.
Correct. It has just a very, very minute amount of residual sugar just to complement the fruitiness without being sweet. And it's done actually very, very well for us. So, by your request, our next wine is Grenache. So this is our Grenache. Our Grenache comes from literally across the street between the houses right over there. It's almost a full-bodied Grenache without losing the character of the lightness and the cherryness of most Grenache.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Epicureans, I just don't even know how every wine can keep getting better and better. Everyone is different in its own way and spectacular. Epicureans, you can come here for tastings Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. And up to 6 people, reservations are not required. More than 6 people, call up Deborah or Phil and make a reservation. It is a small boutique urban winery, so more than 7 people, right, Phil? It's
Correct.
important to make a reservation so you all get in, because trust me, you want to get in.
So this is Debrevey. So the rosé was Rosé of Debrevey. This is actually the first blend we made, originally vintage, I believe, 2005. So it is Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, and a little bit of Petite Syrah, and it just won 2 silver medals recently.
More medals. I think you've won a medal for every wine.
Pretty close.
That says it all.
So this is, I mean, the reason for a blend is so everything makes everything else better. And that's why it really does sing.
It sings. That's a Pavarotti right there. It sings.
So the next wine is
Oh, Preston.
Preston. So Preston is our winery dog. His name is spelled with 2 S's and a capital T, like you're pressing a ton of grapes. And he has a Bordeaux blend of Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Verdot. And speaking of Preston,
There he is in all his furry glory. Look at that face. He is the winery mascot. People come just to see Preston, and well, now you see why. And speaking of male divas, he has his own label, the Vintner's Blend.
He's part of our Vintner Select series. Preston's been with us since literally 6 weeks after he was born. He was crushing with us on the crush pad in his little cage, and he's been with us ever since.
I can't tell my Joey Pierre at home, he'll get very jealous. My furry Epicurean because, well, Preston has his own wine. He's fabulous, just fabulous. All right, here goes Preston. Cheers.
It's got enough Cab Franc where you get just a taste of the herbaceousness from its characteristic from Cabernet Franc, but it blends so well with the Merlot and the Petit Verdot. So he did good.
He did good.
He did very good.
He's in the right family, for sure.
Yes, he's going to take over. Our next wine is our 2011 Cabernet Sauvignon. And in the San Francisco Chronicle wine competition this year, there were only 2 Cabernet Sauvignons from Livermore that took home best of class. This was one of them. So we're very, very fortunate to have received this award, and we open this just for you.
Oh, this is the big bad boy, Epicureans. This is the winner. Right here. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. Wow.
Cabernet all the way.
Okay, I've just gone to heaven. I see why this wins. I mean, hands down, fabulous. Very, very unique flavor.
It's very Cabernet. When we blend our Cabernet, we literally taste and notate all the characteristics of every barrel, because even barrels can be different. And we literally blend based on those notes. So this is a result of that.
It is fabulous. And you know, I've tasted quite a few Cabernets in my day. What I notice about so many of them, they're rich, they're bold, and sometimes they seem syrupy to me almost. I mean, you're the winemaker. This does not seem that way to me. It's rich, it's bold, but I don't taste that like overly thick.
Kind of viscous?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that can come from overconcentration. That can come from alcohol can actually contribute to that also.
Are you saying the ratio of alcohol in
yes,
the
the
wine?
higher the
Yeah.
alcohol, the higher the viscosity.
I see.
So that
Makes
can
sense.
contribute to it too.
It's fabulous.
So next we have Philosophy, which is, of course, I'm Phil, and it's named after me. This is our flagship Bordeaux blend. It is Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec.
It's
So
quite
it's
a
got
list.
all 5 blended to make harmony in a glass.
Perfect harmony. Philosophy.
Philosophy.
I love that, how the names all have something to do with either your family, your history. Again, fabulous.
And as
Philosophy.
the overall theme, which we may have talked about, longevity, is because our last name is long. So everything sort of ties in. And again, it really just is, it's just us. We're not trying to copy or be somebody else. It really is just who we are.
Nobody can be you. This is you. One of a kind. I love it. Fabulous. Just fabulous. I don't know what else to say. It's just, everything here is unbelievable. From the company I'm surrounded by, to the wines, to Preston, of course.
Well, thank you.
All right, Epicureans, so when we come back, we're going to head into the barrel room, and Phil's going to tell us a little bit more about longevity wines. So stay tuned. All right, Phil, so thank you so much for having me to this gorgeous tasting room of yours. It's absolutely fabulous.
Well, thank you for coming.
Tell me a little bit how it all got started. How did you end up here in the Livermore Valley with this absolutely stunning tasting room?
Well, my wife Deborah and I, we started making our own wine in the garage, and we were living in Dublin at the time.
Ireland?
No. No, Dublin, near San Ramon, and I was still working a full-time job in Union City, and Deborah was working in Danville, and Livermore was just the natural place to start if we're going to start our own winery. So we ended up in the Livermore, and we love the Livermore Valley. It's got a great community. We love it here. The people are great, and everybody helps everybody, and we're glad we're here.
It's a great community. Speaking of your story, this barn has a story, doesn't it?
The barn has a story as well.
What's behind the barn? Because I love this barn.
We've always wanted to have a barn on a piece of property. Right now, our winery is the piece of property, so we erected this barn facade.
So, and inside the barn there, you have the lovely mural, which is also surrounded by a few of your awards. I see just a couple. There's only a ton back there. It's just the beginning of all of your awards for your amazing wines.
Well, thank you. We're just trying to make the best wine we can with what we have, and we seem to be doing fairly well. We've got a really good following. So we're happy about that. We're very, very happy about that.
So Phil, tell me about this logo. This was your original logo, right?
That's correct. This is our original logo. A little story behind the logo. Originally, we named Deborah Longevity, and we were just going to name one wine Longevity. And actually, Deborah, my wife, thought of the name Longevity, but it just sort of stuck. So it became the brand Longevity, and this was the original label for Longevity. And early on in our winemaking career, we had some wine in Costco. And the Costco in Livermore has a great sommelier, and he pointed it out that they put that wine right between two Napa wines with a light colored label. And as you walk by, it was almost like a black hole. You'd see theirs and it would just disappear and come back.
Interesting.
And that's when I said about redesigning our brand, redesigning our label. So I want something more that represented us, and obviously within a lighter color. And that's where the heart label came out, which is on this glass here.
I love it.
And the heart represents, if you look at the heart closely, it's made up of other small hearts, and it's made up of grapes. And I've been giving Deborah glass hearts for Valentine's Day for 20 some odd years.
Okay, that is, come on people. That needs a bigger heart. That is romantic. Everything here at Longevity Wine seems to have a story, and I love that about this place. It feels homey. It feels just like a place you want to stay and drink wine. It seems I'm not alone in that.
Correct. We didn't really set out to try it. It's not like we want to be like an Italian vino, like to do it in Italy, or a French chateau. It really is just about us. It's just things we had, we put it together, or things we made. It's just really kind of a story of who we are, and we're glad that people like it when they come here. They're here, they get comfortable, they feel like they're at home, and that's what we want. It really is a lot about the experience in addition to the wine.
All right, Epicureans, so when we come back, we're going to see how the wines are made here at Longevity Wines with Phil. He's going to show us how it's done, so stay tuned.
So this is where we store all our barrels. This is where we keep all the wine. Like I said, we store wine in barrels anywhere from 9 months to 30 months, various types of oak. American, Hungarian, and French. The stacks are going to vary depending on where we are in the season. It's funny, we stack 4 high here. Before we had a forklift at our old place, we used to only be able to stack 3 high, which I could do by hand, but we have a forklift here to stack 4 high, which 4 high with all full is about 5,500 pounds. So we could use the extra help from the forklift.
Gosh, I wouldn't think you would need a forklift by looking at you. One finger, one barrel.
They're a lot of weight. They're a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So as we continue on back, past the rest of the barrels, we kind of ended up in our tank area where we talked about our spring whites, where we do a lot of our white wines that never see oak in these tanks. And a lot of these tanks are smaller tanks than you'd see at larger wineries. These are 1,000-liter tanks, which give you lots that we like to work with, the small lots that we like to work with, because we're only a 3,000 case winery. 100 to 150 case lots, it works really, really well for us. This will give us 100 cases. The big tanks will give us a couple hundred cases. And those are about the size lots we like to work with.
It's fabulous. So let's take a look. What else do you have to show me here, Phil?
Well, you want to hear about punch downs.
I do. I want to hear about the punch down. It's all about the punch down, Epicurean.
So we'll go on back. This large machine here is our crusher destemmer. We crush and destem grapes with it. It's literally the very first step in the process in making wine. Whites and reds are a little bit different, but it is the first step in the process. For red wine, we crush and destem and ferment in very large containers and or tanks for 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the temperature, the grapes, and so forth and so on. And then during fermentation, when the reds are fermenting, you ferment red wine on the skins. That's where color from wine comes from, is from the skins, because all the meat of grapes are white. A byproduct of fermentation is obviously alcohol, heat, and CO2. And one of the processes that we employ during fermentation is called punch down, and we use a tool like this.
Wow. Am I going to punch down?
You can punch down.
Uh-oh. Look out, Epicureans. Because sometimes you just need to punch down.
So this is a tool that literally all of the skins float to the surface of the tank, and they're floating on top of the wine. But you want those skins to be integrated with the wine, because again, that's where it gets its color. So you have to punch down those skins back down 3 or 4 times a day.
Wow.
For every container you're fermenting, all during harvest. It's a lot of work, but it's part of the process. You know, it's
quite a feat in and of itself.
Just part of the process.
Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. So one of the things we do on some of our Cabernets, we will go ahead and barrel ferment our wine. We're a small boutique winery, so we don't have the large stainless steel / oak hybrid barrels. We literally just take standard 60-gallon barrels, we pull the heads off, we set them all vertical in a row, then we put the fermenting must into the barrels and punch down right into the open top barrels. It does a couple things. You may lend the wine a slight increase of oak flavor, but most of all, it's soft. The tannins from the oak soften the wine a little bit. It's like it is aged in the barrel already a little bit, so it's got a head start before it starts aging.
And it really adds to the flavor also.
Adds to the flavor, adds to the roundness.
And the texture.
And the texture, and it really does. They do it in Napa a lot. This is just our version of how we accomplish it with the tools we have.
Special technique.
Special technique. And after all the wines, and we're talking about red wines, have fermented, it's time to separate the liquid from the solids. So, and that's what that tool is over here. This is our press. So after all the wines fermented in either barrels or large 1-ton bins, it's time to separate, like I said, all the juice from the seeds and the skins. So this is our press. We fill up this press. It'll take up to about 2 tons of fermented grape skins, seeds, and juice. The juice will fall down to the collection pan and get pumped into a tank. What's left are the solids. Then we close up the press, tighten it up, lock it up, and there's a gigantic bladder inside that expands and expands and expands and presses all the juice out. And we do that a couple times. This whole thing rotates it. We get as much juice as we can out. Once we've pressed all the juice out, we empty the press, and it's almost like oatmeal in consistency. It's just skins and seeds and whatever solids were left over, and all the juice is now into a tank.
Where does it come out when it does come out?
So if you look at the sides very carefully, you see it's a very fine mesh.
Oh.
So the juice runs out down to a collection pan, and then we hook up some of these hoses to a pump, and we pump it to a tank and fill the tank with the fermented juice. And I say fermented juice, it's basically wine at that point that's never seen oak. And it's starting its journey to get to the barrel.
Baby
barrel.
steps.
Baby wine.
It's in
Yes,
vino
baby wine.
infancy.
Yes, correct.
Well, that's quite a process.
It is. It is part of the journey, and after the juice has been extracted, that's when it does go into barrels for long-term aging and maturation. And that starts its journey of just aging and concentrating and developing those flavors in the wine that we're looking for.
And the wine is truly fabulous here at Longevity Wines. So come on by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for tastings from 12 until 5 p.m. Phil, Deborah, and of course Preston the puppy are here waiting for you. You can check them out online at longevitywines.com. So until then, Epicureans, keep it simple, drink lots of vino, and always make it fabulous. Bye. Yeehaw, Epicureans! I'm here in the Livermore Valley. It's the home of the rodeo, after all. And the beautiful, I almost said Napa, sorry. Living on the right side right now. So I'm...
Let's do it over again. You have to look at that.
Am I not? Oh, I was sorry.